Would you like to know more?
Welcome to the War Master Podcast, episode 33 of Adventures in 3D Printing. We've got a couple of things to look at today. We're focusing on the resin printing side of things, so using the Photon Mono. First up are some Cromarty Forge 10mm Slayers for the Dwarf range. So these fellas, minimally dressed, big ass beards, Mohican hairstyles, lots of choppy axes, lots of bits of support running around as usual. I'm still using the Elegoo water washable blue, so very easy to clear supports off, but you can damage your miniatures getting them off. Very easy to get the stuff off the beds, although what I have found is you start to get a bit of warping, so the bases actually warp in a kind of boat shape. So to correct that, what I've started to do is to use double-sided tape and tape them to the lolly sticks that I use to prime them on. And so that then when they're curing, I just cure them on the window ledge at the moment to give them time to dry properly and for the curving of the bases to go away. So put them on the lolly stick. And that's hopefully when I pull them off, the bases won't curl back up. I can't think that they will, because now they've been cured in this position. So so I'm liking that technique. I like the fact that these dwarfs have feet. That's a bonus after the 200 million dwarfs I printed without feet. So these guys are your stereotypical Dwarf Slayers. So bad men, short bad men with big bellies, big axes. We've done our two-tone undercoating, so you can hopefully see a bit of detail. Let's do the back of these. So there were 7 strips, and I'll go through all 7 strips here. Oh, that's nice, isn't he? Giving him a hug there with his axe. So some quite dynamic poses. Cleaned up nice enough. I can't see any breakages. Weren't too many supports, so it's pretty easy to do. There's one under there, look, that I didn't get, but I might not even bother with that one. Nice runed axes. In that kind of rune work there, that would be really difficult to recreate in a different material. Is his axe meant to be in the ground there? Is he dragging it along the ground, or have I managed to? Is my machine still eating a bit of the bottom layer? Don't know. It's hard to see. Then we got the rest of the prints that don't have command on them. And then we've got some prints at the end with the command strands. What's going on here? What's that? So you got some kind of... oh no. It's support, of course. Or rubbish. I didn't know if that was some kind of elven cloth work that they have. Ribbons. But obviously dwarfs don't have such things. I'm playing D&D again at the moment. 5th ed. I haven't done that in forever. And I'm playing, I think it's a Hill Dwarf Forge cleric, who's it's a pretty cool concept actually. His skills are all around the magic of the forge, so making armor and stuff. He's cool. I like him, a little tanky dwarf. Although playing clerics is still boring as bat poo. They really need to do something about making clerics more interesting. When your other characters are running around dealing damage like no tomorrow, and you're just tanking up and healing people. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. So, I really like these fellas. I might even get round to painting a couple of units. I think that axe again is in the ground, isn't it? I hope that's not something going wrong. This one here, going wrong with my printing. But it does. Oh, maybe it's meant to be like that because it looks like it's going through under his foot, just to kind of create some dynamism. And then finally we've got we've got a nice looking banner here on the end. Look at that. So it's got a rune on it. Look at the texture of that banner. That's brilliant. It's almost like a stone banner. I can't see if there's any... Well, there's that horn here. It's kind of hard to see from the front. Can't even see the dwarf's face. What is that? Maybe I can see it from the back side. Final unit of dwarfs, and then again. Oh, it goes round. It's like a pipe that goes round from the front, round his back, I guess, and comes out the front again. Oh, look at this big intimidating dwarf. Crikey. He's been on the roids, this fella. Look at the size of him. We've got a nice plain banner there. Some more runed axes. Let's go around the back. He's a massive dwarf. Jesus. He's a dwarf and a half. And let's see if you can see the... well, you can't really see the pipe work there. Maybe you can see a bit of the horn. But yeah, see, there's the pipe work for the horn. He's lost underneath, isn't he? This fella, I'm going to go and have a look at his front again. He's actually underneath the other guy's axe. Keep your head down. He said, oh, there's his face there, look. Brilliant. I think it's kind of like some kind of dragon horn. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. So I think you can buy these STLs from John's website. Don't think they're much money. STLs don't tend to be a lot of money. And then you can print Dwarf Slayers to your heart's content. Okay, we're going to have a look at some other bits now. So the second half of this week's video is going to be talking about some of the bigger pieces I've managed to print using resin. Obviously, printing resin means there's more detail, although some of the files can be a bit ropey. So the detail is a blessing and a curse. So these are 28mm. This is a Sherman tank. I don't know which one of the variants. The file was from Thingiverse. I plated it flat on the bed, so this was almost as big as the bed. And the only issue I had was the tracks were separately. So the tracks came separately. The turrets separate, so turrets here. I printed a 50 cal here at that is supposedly 1/56th, which is 28mm. It looks a bit big for the turret, but that may be that the tank is a bit small. Because if I was printing this commercially, over time you'd get the settings exactly right. But as it's a one-off piece, it's quite hard sometimes to get the settings right. I have looked, and at 1/56th, it is roughly the right size for the Sherman medium tank. So the only issue I had was where the supports joined the base of the tank, because it's printing flat to the bed. Removing the supports caused quite a lot of damage, and also there was some, because I hollowed it out, I don't know if you can see the hollowing, I've probably filled the holes up, and it creates supports inside. Sometimes that can cause some slicing issues, so I've just used some green stuff to correct the bottom that had holes and slicing problems, and I think it's alright. I think I could do with a 28mm scale man, but I haven't got one downstairs. I've got still got the 10mm stuff, but obviously that doesn't really show you the scale. And using autofocus, it's always a bit blurry. But let's have a look how high the tank is, because I think it was bigger than man height, but not a giant amount bigger. So the turret's about 45mm. So that's 1.5 men height, isn't it, roughly? So that's probably about right. And then the 50 cal goes on the top here. But it'll probably need, I'll probably print this at a smaller size, maybe 75%, maybe 80%, and it'll probably look a bit more like the scale. So I printed that 28mm, that filled my whole bed, but then Rid wanted me to print him a I'm going to get the number right, T28, I think, or something, that the Finns used, which was basically a Russian tank, medium tank, that the Finns stole. And the reason he wanted this is because it's got 3 turrets, the cheesy pig. So it was nearly 13 centimeters long, or a little bit over if we go, and it printed this whole base and tracks printed in one lot. It was a 1/100th size print that I've resized. So it was too big for my plate, so I had to print it vertically, which took quite a long time. I can't remember how many hours, but it was a lot of hours for a mono, maybe 8 or 9 hours or something, which obviously if you're printing on an old photon would have been way more than a day. Oh, you can see the holes here. So these are the drainage holes. I hollowed it out because printing something like this in solid resin is a bit of a no-go. You'd be using like half a bottle at a time. And resin's 40 quid a litre, so you wouldn't want to be doing that. It would be cheaper to just buy a kit. So hollowing it out, I don't think it used that much resin realistically. There's some artifacts again here on the back from hollowing out and also from slicing something like this. It's quite a complicated model, but when you look at it from the outside and when it's undercoated and painted, it's going to look pretty good. The only problem was that where it connected to the bed with supports, because I had it mounted like this vertically, there was quite a bit of damage here to the back of, the autofocus is garbage, to the back of the tank, which I've green stuffed. It'll probably need a little bit of sanding or a little bit of further green stuffing to fill the holes and to make it look a bit smoother. Well, but it could always be battle damage. So you got, this is the big fella here, so it's 13 mil. So it's, I'll put the, see if we can get the Sherman next to it here. So it's quite a bit bigger than the Sherman, about 30% longer and probably about the same height. And it is classified as a medium tank, but I mean Soviet medium tanks, that could mean anything. And if you've got a big turret on the front, it's got a machine gun on the front and a machine gun on the back of the front turret, and a howitzer effectively, and it's got 2 turrets on the side, so it's got 4 machine guns, this bloody thing. So this one goes on that side, and we've got a turret for this side. And I didn't hollow these turrets out, or the Sherman turret, to be fair, because I wasn't that proficient, but I hollowed this turret out. And then this goes like this, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 machine guns and a howitzer effectively. So cool. I mean, you can print big things, and it might take a little bit of time, 9 hours. I mean, in FDM printing land, 9 hours is not that big a print. That's kind of like just a plate's worth. So and not that high. So it can be done. Thingiverse is a bit of an interesting monster. You can spend a lot of time getting something like this to print right once, and then if you never print it again, you spend quite a lot of time and energy on a model that you're only going to print once. But the beauty of 3D printing is that you can indeed find an STL and with a bit of time and effort print something. Maybe it costs £4 or £5 to print this, but yeah, I mean, you can print anything you can find the STL for, and as long as you've got some patience. So next week we're going to be talking a bit more about FDM printing, because I really am, as much as I enjoy this resin printing, the cleanup is a headache, especially when you've got a lot of other stuff going on in your life. You have to have time available to do the cleanup. So it's half term next week, so I'll be doing some resin printing. But I've been really getting into the old FDM printing. In fact, so much so that I'm contemplating picking up a second printer now, because I've got my first printer running remotely with a webcam and Octopi and a little Raspberry Pi mouse. Raspberry Pi computer that I had kicking around the house, and this Octoprint setup. So that's really fantastic. I'll show you that another time. Today's about resin printing. So here to go some bigger bits that you can do, and also don't forget Cromarty Forge and the Slayers. All right, and we'll see you next time.